My name is Arin Lindauer, and you're listening to A Life Without Struggle. I'm a wife, a mother of 2 wonderful children, a 2-time best-selling author, and a highly driven and successful entrepreneur. In my 17-plus year career as a mindset and health expert, I know what holds women back from a life you only dream about. Whether you're a CEO, a businesswoman, or executive, I started this podcast because I have been where you are, and I know you want and deserve more out of your life. I believe women are limitless. We just get lost along the way. The process to get you there is the topic and purpose of this podcast. When you understand what you want, you can truly step into a life without struggle. Welcome, and I'm so thankful you're here. Welcome back to another episode of Life Without Struggle. My name is Arin Lindauer, and today's title is You're Working Hard, so why isn't the scale moving? Okay, let's talk to the woman who is working out 5-6 days a week, who swears she eats clean, who feels like she's trying harder than ever, yet the scale is not moving. You're disciplined, you're consistent in your effort, you're tired, and you think it has to be your hormones. What if that's not the problem? What if it's actually your strategy? So today we're going to dive deep into the effort is not the same as your strategy. So I want to break down the differences because this is a conversation that I have all day, every single day. I have women come into my DMs, jump on calls with me, and they tell me, hey, Arin, your message spoke to me. I'm doing all the things and I can't get the scale to move. It has to be perimenopause, or it has to be my hormones, or, what else can I do? I'm working out harder than I've ever worked out. And I sit there and I listen and I get it. I understand the frustration. I have experienced this personally myself. But the second I start to share, hey, here's what we need to do, you look at me like I have a third eye. And so this podcast is going to dive deeper into this because your effort is not the same as the right strategy. So here's what you think. More workouts equal more results. Clean eating equals fat loss. Hormones equal the root cause for why we can't lose weight. And so I want to share with you why all of this is wrong. And the problem is there is no shortage of information. There is no shortage of doom scrolling. Once you click on my stuff, now you're getting inundated with 50 other, online coaches or whatever. And the thing that I'm going to tell you is you're ChatGPT and you're trying to figure this out when it's information overload. Okay. And so the reality is, we're stressed. This is a different season of life. Also, I do want to call out that perimenopause is just a time and space. It's this time and space where our hormones are fluctuating up and down, and it's not a death sentence. It's not doomsday. It just means we haven't gone into menopause, but things are shifting around. And here's another thing is if you're feeling these hard shifts, it's likely because of years upon a decade of stress and buildup and having extra weight on our body. So I know no one wants to hear this, but I want to empower you. I want to give you hope that there is a better strategy. Because when you're stressed and having more stress, you've got an increase in cortisol. That does not create a good environment for fat loss. Okay, let's also say you're saying you eat clean, but eating clean doesn't mean you understand how many calories you're taking in. Okay, so we have to become very, very aware. And I will tell you all day long, if you're telling me that you're eating 1,200 calories according to what MyFitnessPal said, and you're not losing weight, you're not eating 1,200 calories, okay? Also, inflammation plus under eating it's never going to get you where you want to get. There's a happy balance to everything. Also, the other bigger thing that I want to call out is when you're inflamed and you are under muscled. Most women are under muscled. Again, it is not to make you big and bulky, but you don't have enough muscle on your body. Therefore, your hormones, i.e. insulin, is not in a good place. So this will stall out your fat loss. This is where sometimes we need to disregard the scale and we need to build muscle and put more muscle on your body and go through different phases of putting muscle on, pulling the fat off, putting muscle on, and we cycle you. These are higher level strategies that sometimes when our body is being a little bit stubborn, it's not your fault. It's just you're under muscled, and that's going to actually help increase your metabolism and balance your hormones out naturally. So you can be working hard, but honestly, in the wrong direction. So if you're working out, this is the classic. Listen, I'm working out 5-6 days a week. You might be overtraining. It could be too much. If you keep doing lots and lots of cardio or group fitness classes, if you're using Ladder group app, if you're using YouTube workouts, if you're using, Body, whatever the beach body used to be, like you're inflamed. Hands down, you're inflamed. If you're doing the bar, the Pilates, the boot camps, Burn Boot Camp, Orange Theory, F45. I mean, all of these ladies. And I know I'm like killing everybody's mood right now, but these workouts do not support you when you need to lose fat. Okay. And I'm just going to say it like that because that's what we need to focus on is we need to focus on dropping fat. And we need to focus on putting on muscle. This doesn't mean you can't go back to that type of workout, but if you are not seeing results on the scale, those workouts are absolutely not helping you from a hormonal standpoint. Also, I will say it again, you're under muscled, okay? And so most of you are like, hey, Arin, I've been strength training and I'm using heavier weights. And I'm going to tell you, you may have started focusing on that, and that's a good thing, but it's probably not enough, and it's not programmed correctly with progressive resistance training, with progressive overload. Any of these apps that are telling you you have a push, pull, press day, there's 4 different days a week. We're going to target our buns. We're going to target our shoulders. We're going to that is so old school and so wrong on so many levels. You need progressive resistance training with progressive overload. You need the oversight of weights, progression, etc. Okay. And most women, I'm just going to say it, you're not lifting enough weight, but you need to build and you have to start somewhere, but you don't know how to appropriately do this so that you don't get hurt. So your clean eating may still have you overeating. This is hands down, I have this conversation all day, every day, is a client will get into my program and I ask to see what she's currently doing. And for most women, they were eating perfectly fine. It was just too much. Or we make just these slight tweaks that she was completely unaware of. And she's like, whoa, if I had known this, I would have done this 10 years ago, right? And the other thing that I know is the weekends typically undo everything that we did during our weekday. For most of us, we are so structured, we're so routine that throughout the week, we are good. Okay. But when it comes to the weekend, we can let our hair down a little bit. It's a little less structured. Maybe you have a lot of events and things and activities with the kiddos. So the thing that I want to call out is we're not as consistent as we think we are or what we need to actually see the results. Okay. So I want to talk through this hormone trap because so many women will come to me just saying it has to be my hormones, that has to be my hormones. And here's what I want to validate is hormones absolutely matter. Okay, they do. But most women don't even come close to understanding your hormones. And any medical professional that tells a perimenopausal woman that you shouldn't draw your labs because, your hormones fluctuate day to day, minute to minute, hour by hour, they're not wrong. But if we draw labs on the 21st day of your cycle, and we do this every 90 days, we are going to start to be able to see patterns. The only reason I can speak so confidently on this is because I had to go through this myself. I was in a self-induced menopause, okay? I was not having a period. I was having night sweats, hot flashes, no libido. I thought this was just normal. I was in my 40s. This is what it is, right? And until I went off and I started to better understand that, man, what you're feeling is not normal. And it wasn't until I talked to a competent doctor that she said, girl, this is not normal. And she goes, I've never seen someone so young with this result. And she goes, I want you to saddle up for the next 6 to 12 months and we're going to get you figured out. And she said, hands down, we're going to see what your body does naturally. And so she knew what I do for a living. And she said, you're doing all the right things. We just need to get you off of the birth control and we need to see what your body does naturally. But she told me, she said, buckle up because you're going to be up and down and all over the place. And boy, oh boy, was I. Those first 3 months, I was pulling my hair out like, what am I doing? But I will tell you, after those first 3 months for me, everything kind of clicked. I started to feel really good and it was worth every aspect of those 3 months to feel how I feel now. I am very in tune with my body. Now, do I love having the period and doing all the things after not? Not really, but it's allowed me to become way more in touch with my body because hormones do matter. And perimenopause will absolutely change our game, but it's not a death sentence. It's just a time and space. If you are 35 plus, you are approaching or in perimenopause. It hit me right around 38, where just things stopped working, hormones felt different, weight was on my body that had never been on my body before, and I know you can relate, okay? But we don't give the power to, it's perimenopause, I can't lose weight. No, you need a different strategy, hands down. And here's the other thing that I want to call out is HRT, or hormone, meaning bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, can be so helpful, so life-giving to women, okay? But don't just go off of symptoms. Make sure that you're running your labs and make sure that you're getting a comprehensive hormone panel for a female. Hands down. It may cost you a little bit more money. You can order this without your doctor. You can order these. I can order these. Okay. And it's important for us to be empowered that things are not as bad as you think they are. Because how many of you have gone into your doctor's office? You've gotten, the basic labs, maybe like 60 labs done. P.S. We can do over 150 different biomarkers. So just being honest, like most docs run like 30, and then better docs will run 60. But there's a lot more that we can test that can really make things make sense. This is what we personally recommend, is comprehensive panels done every 90 days. Okay. So hormones do not override the physics. So we still have to understand what your calorie balance is. We have to understand what your muscle is, because your muscle is your hormonal medicine. If you want to balance your insulin, hands down, putting on muscle is the best way to do this. And when you do that, you will see fat loss because you have increased your metabolism. Cortisol from overtraining will hands down sabotage any fat loss. So if you're running, doing CrossFit style workouts, hit these Hydrox, Jesus, if one more thing comes into the mix, like you are just tearing up your body from a hormone standpoint. And you may say, but Arin, I love it. And I'm going to say, hey girl, I love it too. I love a good kick-ass workout. I mean, I used to do all the Spartan races. I mean, all of those adventure type things. I love that stuff. I used to train for marathons, half marathons. I've done Ragnar races. So listen, I get it. I love that stuff too. But when your body is inflamed, that is the last thing that you want to be doing. Now, with a huge asterisk, you can come back to that. If I wanted to go back and do one of these Hydrox workouts, or if I wanted to, let's just say like a CrossFit type workout, or GTX at Lifetime has that, I could do it. Now I'm not, because I'm 43. I've already been there, done that, right? I'm doing workouts that support my body, my hormones now, and I don't have anything to prove. Okay, but I get it. I understand why women like these workouts, because you get great endorphins from it. I would too. But here's what I'm going to tell you is you get the fat off your body doing things the way that I recommend and how I coach women in my program. We can add some of that back in. So it's not that you can't do some of these things. I'm just telling you it's not the best strategy for you to see fat loss in this particular hormonal place that we're in. Okay, so your hormones are not the villain. Your system is just misaligned. And HRT without strength training is a huge missed opportunity. If you're taking HRT, good for you. I hope you feel better, but it will not produce your results. So, okay, why do women look at me like I have a third eye? I mean, I was literally on multiple calls this week, and women looked at me like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, really? 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 And I get it, but you're missing a huge part of all of the science that actually goes into this. You do not know how to progressively resistance train. You don't even know what that is, because you're doing bar, you're doing Pilates, you're doing F45, you're doing all these different things, and they're calling it strength training. That has to be right, okay? And it's not. Or you heard this other coach over here and she said, you got to lift heavy, 5-6 reps. No, there is a happy balance, but most people do not have an exercise science degree, which is formerly known as a kinesiology degree. And believe it or not, we study the science behind why you should do what you do. So you have to lift progressively. You have to track your intake honestly. Do not tell me you eat clean. Arin and I eat the same meals, blah, 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 blah. If your scale isn't moving, you're not, okay? Hands down. And if we haven't focused on stress and recovery, those play an even bigger part in this whole picture. So the why you're resisting and looking at me like I have a third eye is it feels too simple than what you're doing, okay? Hands down, I know that. And it requires you to actually slow down. Believe it or not, you fight me on this. I'm telling you less is more. And believe it or not, there's a subset of women who want to fight me on this. It challenges your hard worker mentality. The only reason I can say this is because it checked me as well. I loved being a sweat angel on the floor. I loved just having a kick-ass workout. It made me feel so good. Until I started understanding hormones and did additional coursework to understand how this works with our body now. Okay, so this challenges your hard work mentality. And it asks you to measure things versus guessing. For most of you, you would eyeball, and if I had you eyeball your food all day long, you would be presenting me with more calories than what your body actually needs. When we start to really understand what our portions need to look like, it is sad. If you've ever measured out a half a cup of a carb, it is very, very sad, okay? But you don't need to try harder. You need to become more precise. So there's an evolution and a 3-step method that we need to focus on. We need to build your muscle intentionally. Progressive overload, 3 maybe 4 days per week. I personally lift 3 days a week. That's it. That's all I've done for a hot minute now. Less junk volume. So if you're pushing just more and more and more and doing burpees and all of this like intensity, if you're going to burn out the body, okay? Your adrenals are probably burnt out. Muscle is your metabolic leverage, because when you increase your metabolism, every pound of muscle you put on your body, and this will never make you big and bulky. Listen, I'm not. Like, I am sitting at about 15, 16% body fat, and like hands down, it takes just having the muscle, and that's going to increase your metabolic process. So we have to get really, really real with your food. This is probably one of the biggest radical honesties I ask women to have, and it's personal, and I get it, is clean eating isn't data. Arin, I eat the same meals. Cool. That's not data. I can't help you if you tell me you eat clean, yet you don't know why the scale isn't moving. Your weekends count. I need to see what you're doing on the weekend. And you have to have a protein target. You know, everybody is now in tune, thanks to the GLP-1, honestly, that you need to eat protein and a lot more. And here's the deal. Most women think, oh, I need to have 100 grams of protein. That is just a starting place. We can actually double what we take in a day based on our ideal weight. Okay, so you can actually take it up to 2 pounds. And this is something that I've been focusing on. And it is hard. It is hard to get that kind of protein in. As a woman, getting over 150 to 200 grams of protein takes serious, serious effort. The third thing that we really, really need, and this is something that I take for granted how much work I've spent on this, is our nervous system regulation. You need to sleep, hands down. You need to go to bed earlier. Done. We need to do lower stress workouts. Okay. We need to set boundaries. Stop saying yes to everything. Say yes to what's strategic and right for you. Okay. We need to stop running on adrenaline. If you're sucking down cups and cups and cups of coffee all the time, energy drinks, listen, I get different seasons in life may promote that, but if you're doing it all the time, there's a reason, and you're pushing yourself against burnout. Your body responds to safety and structure, not chaos and intensity. If you've got your kids and 50,000 things, you're driving all over the city all the time, if you're always a hot mess, if you're always wrecked, we need to do something about that. That is not helping your hormonal perspective. So listen, I get you because I am you. You're a high achiever. You're used to pushing harder. You're proud of outworking others. But now, pushing harder is actually what's keeping you stuck. You have to evolve from I work hard to I work strategically. We need to evolve from I burn calories to I build muscle. We need to evolve from I eat clean to I eat with intention and data. We need to evolve from it must be my hormones to what part of my system needs refinement. Your next level requires a new version of you. You're not broken. You're not too old. You're not doomed by these hormones. But if the scale hasn't moved in 6 months, something needs to change. You need to audit your workouts, track your food honestly 2 to 4 weeks, hands down. Reduce your volume of workouts. Lift heavier but appropriately. Sleep more. And most importantly, get proper coaching and support. Effort got you here, okay? Evolution gets you further.